right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night OWCP chats with Chris and Gini.
If you weren't here before, we started early and forgot to put it onto Facebook. It was only running on our YouTube page.
Yeah, and then you guys wouldn't have even seen anything. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. We know we've been gone for the last 2 weeks. Chris?
We were in Manhattan, and we were in Norwood, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston, doing open houses for two of our really fantastic offices up there. And just leaving Massachusetts, that office was so incredible, right?
Oh.
I mean, like, I've never seen anything like it, and I've been doing this a long time. She's been doing this a long time, and the office really went the extra mile.
They did.
It
They
was
really
so much
did.
fun. And they had these cool balloons that who made the balloons? One
of staff members. I mean, if you guys saw, I posted all these pictures right here on chat's page. Balloons. They made a cake. They made a welcoming Chris and Gini sign and welcome to the open house. Maria, Marissa, Dr. Fred, and John. They did an amazing job. I shout out to them. Kudos goes to them.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so we haven't been on Wednesday night chats for, I guess, now 3 weeks.
We've kind of been doing Thursday night chats.
Yeah, Thursday night chats.
And we will only be doing Thursday night chats when we have to travel and we're doing our open houses. Other than that, we will always do them on Wednesdays unless we say something.
Right. And so tonight is a very special edition of Woodshed Night. For those of you that don't know what Woodshed Night is, it's going to be a little different tonight. But in the past, Woodshed Night is where I go out and take supervisors behind the woodshed. And I love saying that this one time she said, we're going to take supervisors into the woodshed. And I said,
no,
they're not allowed in there. That's where all the fun stuff is. Yeah, right. That's where the fun stuff happens. So we don't let them in there. They go out back where nobody likes it that much. But tonight, I've been getting told by a lot of people on our team and been getting some messages from people outside of our organization that I should play nicer in the sandbox. I don't do that well.
I don't think you've ever played nice in the sandboxes since you were little, right?
No, not with management. I don't. No, I mean, with the best friend I grew up in, if you get in the sandbox, that's like getting in the ring, like fight. Right. And so that's how it's been. I've been really hard on management. I'm not going to be easy on them tonight. Don't get me wrong. That's not going to happen. But instead of just like bashing them, because I think that doesn't help you. I don't think anybody is helped by me bashing management and then you going to work tomorrow being pissed off at your supervisors. Look, I know you don't need extra incentive to be pissed off at management because we know what they do.
Right.
But tonight, what I want to talk about is what they're doing and how they can do it better. Because here's my message. What we're trying to do is get you better, but first, well, not even first, at the same time, get your claim accepted. And I've been getting told, well, in fact, Joe's going to hate this, but we got this letter. And I'm not reading the letter, okay? But there was a letter. It was written, doesn't matter where or who, but it was written by somebody in HR at one of your agencies. And it was a letter to a claims examiner saying, these federal injury centers people, they seem to only care about getting claims accepted. It looks like they just want to make money. So that's why they get claims accepted.
How rude.
And they do a lot of therapy. And then this person, who's not a doctor or probably licensed at anything, like me, by the way, but, gave his or her opinion on the course of treatment that this particular person was getting.
Right.
And then said, and nobody gets back to work full duty, which isn't true. So I went and looked and said, well, shoot, lots of people are back to work full duty. And then we did a survey. We just started surveying our offices. And we found out that all the offices we surveyed, and it was a lot of them, have anywhere from like 93 to 100% return to work. So now somebody's probably new here and they're thinking, oh God, here we go. This is the company doctor. Well, it's not. Let me explain the deal. Is we want you to go back to work because over the years, I've spoken to thousands of you. And the thing is, because we fly around and we do this. In fact, we're going to be in Orlando next week.
Yeah.
Hanging out with some of the APW folks and some of the other folks from the VA.
AFGE people. Yes.
And then the next week, we're going to be in Miami all week long. I'm looking at my calendar over here.
And we're going to be interviewing Victor.
And that's going to be so much fun. Everyone loves Victor Sanchez.
We might get a few more APW people there,
I sure hope so.
Say hello, but yeah.
But the point I'm making is we travel around and we have an opportunity to talk to a lot of you. in person. And the one thing that always stands out, and it has for years, is that when you're hurt at work, you're not getting paid because you have to go back to work hurt. And it's hard to do that. And so you end up exhausting all your sick and annual leave. And when that's over, then what? Right? Like then you're not getting paid, or you have to go back to work and cripple yourself to do this heavy job that you got hurt doing. And so we effort to get you all back to work because we know, and this is a Chrisism, it's like something Chris says all the time as I'm talking about myself in third person.
Yes.
That the surest way for you to get paid is to go to work and clock in. And we know that. And then somebody told me, well, all you ever talk about is money. I said, well, look, you go talk to federal employees the way I do, and you find out what matters, because getting better matters, but being able to stay in your home matters too. Being able to keep your car and, you know, pay for your kids' college tuition. Those things matter to you. And so that's why money is important. It's why we discuss money, because that's what you talk about. And so anyways, this letter went to a claims examiner, and remember in the letter, it was a HR person complaining about the course of treatment. And so after I kind of cooled off a little bit, I realized, wait a minute, this person wrote the letter to the person who approves all the treatment before the treatment's done. I wonder if everyone knows that all treatment in OWCP is required to be pre-authorized, meaning approved in advance by the claims examiners who you write letters to, leave messages for, communicate with, and so forth. The person who approves your claim is also the one that approves all of your treatment. And so this letter was written to the person who approved the treatment. Now, what was she going to do? Was she going to say, well, shame on me, I did a bad job and approved treatment so people can get better? No. Well, anyways, I happened to, and I don't think I told you this, but I saw the response letter by the claims examiner who said, hey, we really don't take letters like this, and we don't play favorites. We're not, you know, everything is based on medical necessity. It's got to be well written and rationalized by a medical doctor, which it all is. And then we pre-authorize the treatment, but thank you for your consideration and your concern. It was pretty awesome. And it reminded me of the claims examiner we spoke to at the AFGE seminar last year, who said, and I'm just summarizing, these weren't his words, but a lot of times when the supervisors say things to them, they sort of like roll their eyes because they realize supervisors don't really know what's going on. And so now that lets me circle back to the purpose of Woodshed Night, because supervisors really don't know what's going on. And so what I want to do tonight is make this message out there in a way where supervisors can hear it without being, you know, pissed off and want to turn off the video. And so maybe somebody will listen and it'll make a dent in one of your lives because I actually was able to change somebody's mind. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about the things they're doing wrong and how they can do it right. And for you, especially if you're new and you don't know anything about OWCP because you haven't been watching us since 2016, like so many people have, then you're going to learn some things for yourself tonight that you'll be able to use if you get hurt. And I pray you don't. But the sad reality is lots of you do.
And we're also going to go over some rules, laws, and regulations that are real codes and real laws. That this is why Chris always tell you to download the book, because they're in there. And if they ever have something to say, you just scroll through and just say, hey, look, such and such code, you may want to read this.
Yeah.
So pay attention tonight. And we do Woodshed Night every quarter. So as we are in the second quarter, we're doing it again because we know there's a lot of new people. We know that there's a lot of old people and all the supporters that still don't remember, or, you know, or can't buy the book or whatever it is. So, and I know I have, and I'm saying this out loud, and I don't have a problem. I have a huge following of postal management and supervisors on my LinkedIn page. I have no problem. And I have to say, they've added me. And on top of that, they've never once messaged me or said, hey, whatever you're saying on your chat is not good or anything. They see what I post just as well. Everything that you guys see on Facebook, everybody sees on all of our social media pages. So those supervisors and management out there, you know, pay attention. Maybe you don't know the rules and laws, but we're here to help in any way we can.
Well, and in my experience, you definitely don't know them. And in all of my books, I've always written a chapter for management in there because I think it's, just in the off chance that somebody gets my book and says, hey, I'm going to read this one chapter, then it can really change a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And so I've always done that. Now, the book is called Breaking OWCP. You can find it at breakingowcp.com. And one of the people on my team says, man, Chris, I wish you wouldn't have titled it Breaking OWCP. You're just, you're probably putting a target on your back. I said, well, that target's been there since 2007, and I'm still here. But let me explain, it's not really breaking OWCP, it's breaking the code. And breaking the code is probably been taken already. I'm sure that there's a book called that.
But I remember when we did ask our audience, they really liked the title.
They really liked it. I know. And so it's really breaking the code of OWCP, because so many of you are so confused and really desperate because it's so complicated. And so I wrote a series of 4 books called Breaking OWCP, Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. Different content in each book. And it's there to help you navigate this system. I do not currently sell them in paperback form. They're only as PDFs, because I have this other saying that I want you to put Breaking OWCP in your pocket. And why? Because everybody has their phone with them all the time. All the time. And you usually, especially guys, put your phone in your pocket. And when something comes up and you need the rules, laws, and regulations, you need to know something right now. It's really great to be able to just pull that up and say, no, here's what it says. Here's what the Code of Federal Regulations says about CA-16s or whatever, right? And so that's why it's on a download. So go to breakingowcp.com and download that. And I think it's going to help. But with the rules, laws, and regulations, especially, because trust me, it's really complicated. I read them all over, years ago, and I continue to do that. I try to stay up to date on things. And if enough new things come out, there'll be a 5th volume.
Yeah.
But for now, we're good with 4.
Okay. Just a quick shout out. We're going to do shout outs later, but Frank from Brooklyn, New York. Hey, Frank. We got Diane from Michigan, and Paul Wedge. Hello, guys. Again, I'm sorry I missed you guys in Norwood, Massachusetts. Don't worry. We will be back again, but a lot of you keep asking when we're coming to do a sip and social in your city, and there is no locations there. So we do this for open houses, so you guys know. So this is why we put the flyer out and we promote this from like a month ahead, so you guys have enough time to see if you can come out. So with that said, I see everybody on here. Thank you. Hold your questions until Chris says, okay, if you have any questions. I know there's some on here already and we'll get to them, but let's get through this because it gets very lengthy.
Yeah, and another thing, you're gonna see messages from federal injury centers of here or there. Right now, I see Kansas City, I see Greenville, South Carolina, and these are awesome offices. If you're in these areas, you're gonna really appreciate what they're able to get done for you, because not only are they going to get your claim accepted, but you'll get better and back to work. And I promised Dr. McMorris I would give a special shout out for him today.
So sweet.
He's such a good guy. Dr. McMorris is just south of Baton Rouge in Louisiana, and he's really turning it on, getting claims accepted at a high rate and getting people back to work. And 100% positive feedback. If you're in that area, you should not suffer. And also, if you spend any time speaking with Dr. McMorris, you'll want to spend more time doing it. So that's my recommendation.
And Dr. McMorris, what I think he's so cute, he reminds me of Mikey from the 80s. Do you remember Mikey?
I don't know.
From the cereal commercial?
Well, he doesn't remind me of the cereal guy.
No, he reminds me of Mikey, that Mikey's all grown up. That's Dr. McMorris.
with an awesome country twang when he talks. I mean, he reminds me of being back home.
So shout out to Dr. McMorris.
Yeah, we're glad to have you
in Louisiana.
All right, so let's get to Woodshed Night. And also, look, tonight, if you have stories that you want to tell of bad things that happened to you in regard to OWCP and management, give us a brief synopsis, like the Cliff Notes of the Cliff Notes. If you write a novel, I won't be able to read it because people can't keep up. So, but supervisor told me that he didn't have to give me a CA-16. That would be
and then we can answer it. Yeah.
Or somebody told me that I only had 3 days to report an injury, right? So I'd like to know what management's telling you, because that way I can, especially if it's something I haven't planned on discussing,
right,
I can address it, and maybe we won't have that problem as often in the future. So that's what I'd like to have happen. If you can do that for me, then I'll talk about your story online.
In the meantime, I'm going to Share, share, and share again.
Yeah, and if you'll share also, that'd be great. And then I am going to get to it. Look, I hate when people do this. I was watching this video today, and it was like this whole giant buildup, and I figured it was going to take 30 minutes to get to the point, so I just turned it off. So I'm not going to do that to you. But share this, because lots of people have no idea that we're here helping, and way, way, way too many of you think that there's no hope in OWCP, and there is. And how do I know that? Because I think we're just about to 5,000 accepted claims.
And for
federal
all
lending
those
centers.
almost 5,000 people, I mean, how would you feel if they came to you and said you have to stop going and your claim got accepted, like with the HR people?
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah.
And so you need to know your rights, and that's what's going to happen here. So these are the things that we've seen management do wrong, and I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to try not to cuss them out, because that's how I feel, but I'm going to hold that in, because I've been asked to play nice in the sandbox. We'll see how long this lasts. So here's the first problem. I'm going to take them in the best order possible. The first problem, no, I'm going to go backwards behind that. The first problem is the management treats you bad. And I have a management background, and I've read most of the books on the Barnes and Noble shelf on how to do great management. And one of the things, Rich is on here, LOL. Hey, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
One of the things that I've learned over my own experience as being a manager of people, and I've managed hundreds of people in my career, that's been nearly 30 years, is that the very best way to treat people is to love everybody. And is that easy? No, because I don't love everybody, but I treat everybody with that kind of love and respect that's needed. And I think that is, Rich is telling you hi. It's like a whole thing. I think that's the biggest problem. In fact, I honestly could stop right there and say, management, if you treated your people with love, everything would go more smoothly. But instead, what happens is you treat people with contempt. And having a work injury is like some terrible thing that they did against you. Nobody did anything to you. They got hurt, and the law allows them to get help. OWCP has been around since, I think Joe said, 1916.
Yeah.
So for over a century, this has kind of been the rule, and you all are breaking the rules, and you should stop that, because if you'll stop it, people will get better faster. It's my guess, having spoken to nearly zero managers, okay? But it's my guess that what they want most is, A, for you not to report your injury, and that's not fair. You have a right legally. But B, to get back to work as soon as possible. The problem is that when they delay allowing you to report your injury, that delays getting you back to work. When they delay giving you your forms, it delays getting you back to work, right? When they delay limited duty assignments, it absolutely delays getting you back to work. So if management would look at you and say, okay, what do I want? I want you to get back to work. How would I get that done? Well, how I would get that done is help you get back to work, not, embarrass you, retaliate against you, threaten you, or as we see, fire people, which is against the law. It's against the law in so many places. I can think of 3 places right now where it tells you don't do that. And, they should adhere to the law, but they don't. So that's number one. Treat people with love, not just respect, but love.
Agreed.
And it's something that I think maybe federal agencies should have some management training, like train their supervisors on how to treat the people. Because I also think, I don't have anything to back this up, but it seems like common sense. I think that if management treated their people with love, that more and more of you would find ways to get back to work faster. And I would caution you, because I wouldn't want you to go back so fast you get hurt worse. But right now, there's this adversarial relationship between management and you that could go away and should go away. And if it did, I think that would solve so many of the problems. So I wanted to put that first. But the next, let's say, rule problem, or the first rule problem, is they tell you that it's too late. You can't report your injury. And what? How long do you have to report an injury?
I think it's 3 years.
It is 3
Yes.
years. But what they tell you is like, well, it's 30 days. 30
Right.
days passed, or you only had 2 weeks. Or what they'll do is they'll write you up because you waited more than, like, you didn't report right away. And so because you didn't report right away, they write you up because you didn't report. I mean, what the heck is that? And so I get people all the time saying, well, but my manager wrote me up. And I'll say to you, if you have a strong union, which so many of you do, get help there, because they can usually help get that off your record, because you have 3 years to report an injury. And you just need to know that, and tell your friends too, because your friends don't know. They're not even here watching, and they're not here watching because you haven't shared. So do that so that they'll know that we're here helping. But that's what management does. They try to make it to where you won't report your injury because they say it's too late. It's not too late when you have 3 years. And if it's a CA2 claim that developed over time, it didn't happen in a single incident, you have 3 years from when you realized it was work related. So maybe you've been like dealing with knee pain for the last year and a half, and then you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, what do you do for a living? Well, I carry the mail. Really? Well, what do you do to carry the mail? Well, I walk 8 or 10 miles a day up and down stairs, carrying heavy packages. Oh, well, do you think maybe your knee pain could be work related? And you have that eureka moment. Oh yeah. Well, now it's been a year and a half, but you have 3 years from that point to report your injury. That's where most people would give up. They're like, well, shoot, I missed my deadline. It's too late. Well, it's not too late.
I need your phone.
So no, you can't. Just stay.
Okay, I can't read the messages then.
What happened?
I don't know. Something flashed or
We'll
heard
restart
a boom. I'm trying.
It's fine. There's messages here. Okay. There never fails that we have a technical difficulty. Goodness. Last week, the sound wasn't working on perfectly good microphones. The week before, the Wi-Fi cut out in the office building we were in. Wasn't my Wi-Fi, but it was gone. Anyways, so you have 3 years to report your injury. That's very important. Supervisors are going to tell you something different, but just know that's not the truth. And when you have like breaking OWCP, you'll have the rules, laws, and regulations, and you can show it to them. So that's the first thing they do wrong. That they should stop immediately, because it's preventing you from getting care for legitimate injuries that you have. The next thing they do is, in a CA1 claim, if you report your injury within 7 days, then you're eligible for what's called a Form CA16. The CA16 pays your medical bills for the first 60 days following a CA1 injury that happened in a single shift, as long as you report it in 7 days. Well, Chris, you just said 3 years. Yes, I did. You have 3 years to report. If you wait that long, you're not getting a CA16. But if you report within 7 days, you can have one right away. Now, the thing is, the CA10, it's called what a federal employee should do when injured at work. It says report as soon as possible, but that's like going to trick you up most of the time, because there's the rub some dirt on it crowd. I first coined the rub some dirt on it crowd in California when we were in Sacramento training APW. And I found this table and I said, you guys are the rub some dirt on it crowd. They just look tough. Like, you'll rub some dirt on it for sure. Well, if you rub some dirt on it and hope for the best, then what's going to happen is 8 days are going to pass and you no longer can have a CA16. And now you're responsible for paying your medical bills until your claim gets accepted, if it ever gets accepted. But you have to understand that most injuries are not terribly severe and could resolve in 60 days. And if you had a CA16, all your bills during your course of treatment will be covered. So supervisors say they don't have to, but the Code of Federal Regulations says they shall give it to you within 4 hours of the claimed injury. Shall. Now, it does not say they shall give it to you if your injury is severe enough, if they feel like it, if they know what a CA16 is, or if they're just particularly not in a good mood or whatever. They're required to give it to you. No exceptions to this on a CA1 injury that's reported within 7 days. And what I've found out through lots of experience is those of you that don't get a CA16 typically have the worst time with OWCP, because you start making fear decisions on how you're going to get, treatment, because you're worried about how you're going to pay for it.
Paul, it's actually 45 days of COP, not 60.
Right. Yeah. And I'm going to get to that. And in fact, that's the next thing. Most of the time, especially the rub some dirt on it crowd, you'll say, well, maybe I'll just get better. I'm just going to feel better. And then 30 days passes, and now you can't have continuation of pay. But Paul, that was 60 days of having your medical bills paid. That's what a CA16 does. It pays your medical bills for 60 days. And when your supervisor doesn't give it to you, that puts you in a bind, because now you got to figure out how to pay for it. And most doctors outside of federal injury centers will not accept OWCP. They want to take your health insurance, which comes with copays, deductibles, co-insurance. And that's not fair. That's not what the law was meant to do. The law was meant for you to be able to get help by the government, not by your own health insurance, which, by the way, the more you use your own health insurance for work injuries, the more your health insurance is going to cost you in the future, because utilization is what drives it up.
Yep.
Okay. So that's not what we want to do. So get a CA16 from your supervisor. And those of you with strong unions, go straight to your unions and get help because you need it. Your lives can spiral out of control financially if you don't have a way to pay medical bills. We
Correct.
see it. That's how I know. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm saying I've seen it, period. I hope it doesn't happen to you, but it happens too often. The next thing is continuation of pay. If you rub dirt on it, you wait 30 days, you can't have it. Continuation of pay on a CA1 claim that happened in a single shift will give you up to 45 days of time off, and they'll pay you for it, for your time off. And too many times supervisors will code your COP as annual leave. And you need to pay attention to that because when your annual leave's gone, it's a pain to get it back. Now, the union folks that I know say that they can just go and code it differently and change it and just go back in and switch it from annual to COP. And that's what you want, because if you report right away, you have a CA16 to pay your bills for 60 days, and you have COP to pay for your time off for a month and a half if you needed it. Now, I'm not suggesting you should take a month and a half off because OWCP work injuries are not meant to be a vacation. And most of you, I think, want to go back to work anyways, right? So that's what needs to happen. Get COP so that you have a way to take off if you need it. Then you don't have to use your own sick and annual leave. But management will constantly code it as annual leave. So pay close attention to this and file grievances if you have to. Again, I'm not looking for you to have more trouble with management.
No,
but you didn't ask for this. They did it, and you have to protect yourself, and that's how you do it.
Oh, and one thing, because I got this question today from one of the offices. There was a patient in the office, and the supervisor wanted to talk to the case manager. No. I told her no. So the supervisor wanted to call her when she was at the doctor's office so she could speak to the case manager and she could get the information. No, that's not happening.
So that's another rule.
Yes.
Management, nobody in the agency is allowed to call and communicate with your doctor without your consent and knowledge. So if they call any of our offices, we're required to tell them that the Code of Federal Regulations does not allow them to make that phone call and that they have to get permission from you. That's the rule. And that makes sense because otherwise management can go around you and maybe influence the doctor negatively. And that's, I think, what they're trying to avoid with the rules. And so management is not allowed to call your doctor and speak to them without your consent.
That's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah, and doctors should know better anyways. They can't share your medical history with anybody outside of, this OWCP system. And management is outside because their primary role is to fill out forms and get out of the way. You see how I said that? I said it so nice. Normally I say to fill out the forms.
No, we're not going to say it.
Get the heck out of the way.
Right. Can I just interrupt? Because
please.
Dr. Cox, this is what we were talking about for all the people that are listening in the world. This is the Dynamic Healthcare Carolina in Charlotte, North Carolina, FIC. 98% of his patients back to work last week and 94% over the last 6 months. It's about the care offered through Dynamic Health Carolinas and FIC clinics offering the fast path back to health.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what we're about. We're about getting your claim accepted and getting you better so you can go back to work so you can get paid.
Right.
Oh, there you go again, Chris, talking about money. Yeah, because it matters. It does. I don't think money makes the world go around, but it sure as heck makes your household go around, and you need it. And so, we're sensitive to that. All right, so we talked about you have 3 years to report an injury. That you report your injury within 7 days, you can have a CA16, and since it's also within 30 days, you can have COP. And management needs to stop getting in the way of that. And if they treat you with love, and by the way, I don't even know how many supervisors we've ever treated, but lots, right?
There's been, a few. We've heard offices have called us after hours and told us
we were in one
treating.
office.
Yeah, we were. I'm
not going to say which one, but we were in an office, and there was a supervisor there getting treated.
He was so sweet too.
He was a super guy, no problems. But not about him. But what it makes me think is it's all fun and games until it's you. And remember the supervisor who gave her own sister a hard time?
Oh. We were laughing. We were like, what? Your sister is a supervisor and I'm not going to say what craft, but she asked her sister, she had her injury, if she can get a CA1. Her sister told her no. Absolutely not. I was like, wait, what?
What, do you hate your sister?
But she said they were so close. But when it comes to their job, they don't deal well.
Yeah. So don't do that stuff, supervisors. And again, this is Woodshed Night. If you're just tuning in, you're like, wait, this doesn't sound like Woodshed Night. Chris is being nice tonight. I know it's painful, but let's see how much longer we can do this.
I'm going to read some questions here.
Read some questions.
Miss Kimball, go ahead and ask your question. You don't have to ask if you can ask a question.
Yeah,
anybody
hit
can
us.
ask.
Remember to try to keep it brief, because when you write a novel, it's just really hard to follow and it's hard for other people to understand. And the purpose of this is to teach, and I like everyone to understand. So try to keep your questions as brief as possible.
I am reading from what I could see first on my phone. So if I missed yours, go back now because I was having phone issues and I'm sorry.
Yeah, she had to restart.
So
but
I'm
she's
at
back.
Diana Cardona. This is where I'm at in the message. You should always at least write a statement and specify you do not wish to seek a medical treatment at the moment just to cover yourself. Should she say that?
No, why would you need to do that?
That's what she's saying. You should always at least write a statement and specify you do not wish to seek medical treatment at the moment just to cover yourself.
No, you don't need to cover yourself. It's nobody's business if you seek medical treatment or not. You don't have to do that. What you have to do is write your fill out your CA1 or CA2 on eComp. Definitely write an employee statement. Like, write a statement of what happened. But whether or not you decide to get medical care is nobody's business. You don't have to justify, and you don't have to feel sorry if you go get medical attention either. The supervisors are not allowed to get in your way of getting care, and that's going to be the next thing, that you get to choose your own doctor. But I don't want you to feel like you've got to justify your filing a work injury. That's not fair to you. It's like you woke up that morning and go, wow, I hope I get hurt today and don't have to go to the doctor. That doesn't make any sense.
That's why we tell you to write the detailed employee statement. Like, literally, some of our doctors write, okay, what time did you get up this morning? What did you do? Were you in the kitchen? All the way till you got into that injury. So it has to be detailed.
And what we find is that people that feel like you, and you're not alone, okay? People feel like that all the time, is it usually stems from being scared, like just fearful of what management's going to do. And here we are with Woodshed Night. Managers, why should your people feel scared to report an injury? They're hurt. They're like legitimately hurt. And if they're not legitimately hurt, guess what happens? The claim doesn't get approved.
Yeah, so
because legitimate injuries
about.
get approved. Ones that are not don't get approved. So there's no damage here except to the person who's hurt. Don't treat people that way.
Oh, Chris,
people shouldn't be fearful of reporting an injury.
You've done this since 2007. Have you ever seen, because I haven't, but I don't know about you, have you ever seen somebody come in with a lie saying that, that it was a fake injury?
I've never seen it.
Since 2007. Never. Okay.
No, we're talking 10,000 people that have been
seen?
patients in various practices that I've been involved in. And I don't see people doing that, but that's because by and large, the federal workforce wants to keep their job and make it to retirement. They're not trying to screw over the system. And so managers should cut it out. That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
And if it is, by the way, a good doctor is going to sniff it out.
That's what I was going to say.
And it'll be over. And what they'll do is switch it to their health insurance and say, hey, yeah, oh, it turns out you were bending down to pick up a pot out of your pantry or your cabinet and you hurt yourself in your kitchen at home. That's not work related. And no problem. So now it's not a work injury anymore. Some people don't know.
Yep. Like the lady that called us a couple years ago.
And with that very thing that happened.
Yeah. She said, I said, where did you get injured? She said, in my kitchen. She was bending over. And I was like, well, that doesn't count.
But new people are confused.
Yes,
because they don't
understand.
I'm pretty sure they don't teach OWCP in your orientation, when you get hired. So it's confusing. But, outside of those types of things, that doesn't really happen. And so supervisors should just take it easy. Take it easy. Let people get better. And then they'll get back to work so much faster. But if you prevent them from getting help, then the injury is going to linger and it'll be a problem for you for a lot longer than it would be if they could just go get help, get better, and get back. Get help, get better, and get back. That's actually pretty good. What else you got?
Tim, that was a really sweet message. Tim, he called us like the power couple that's helping millions of lives. However, Tim, if it's not for all of you guys having your locations, we couldn't be doing this.
That's right. So
you guys are great. Tim said celebrating 400 approved claims in Maryland, DC, and Virginia, FIC of DMV.
Damn, Tim. 400. Good job. Congratulations. And to all your patients that have approved claims, congratulations to them too.
Michael says Iowa does not have very many OWCP doctors.
Well, Michael, to be clear, they have none. Unless there's one that I don't know of, I'd like to meet that person.
Right. Okay. Miss Kimball said, I'm dealing with OWCP and my case has been on my caseworker's desk, and today makes a year. So I have a new caseworker as of yesterday, and she said, this is awful, and she's working on it. I have some more questions.
Well, hit us.
Ask away. All right. So that's the last question, guys, that I can see from my phone. So if I missed your questions, go ahead and retype it.
You can scroll these. I don't know if you want to do that, but you can.
I'll let you go ahead first and let's see what's happening.
All right. So here's the next thing that I want to deal with. And again, we're doing Woodshed Night. This is the PG version of Woodshed Night.
Yeah, PG.
PG. Normally it's rated R+. But this is a PG version. I've been requested to tone it down. It's not easy for me. But this one really frustrates me. So we're not just Wednesday night chats with Chris and Gini, but we're also Federal Injury Centers. Federal Injury Centers is a franchise with doctors across the country. Nearly 60 offices now in 27 states. We've been growing slowly, but we're doing it effectively as much as possible, getting good doctors on board to help you with. And then what happens is, and by the way, we only do that because you don't have any doctors. We just get this guy from Iowa saying, we don't have very many. No, you don't have any. And I don't have an office there either, which frustrates me, although Iowa's like definitely on my bucket list. Now somebody's out there going, well, what about me and what so-and-so state? You too, but years and years ago, I was at a restaurant in Texas where I'm from, and I got a phone call while I was at dinner with a friend. And it was a lady from Iowa who saw me on social media. And I stepped away from the table, and for the next hour and a half, I helped her at the restaurant. It was loud, but I did it. And I said, I got to have an office in Iowa. And that lady made a huge impression on me. I never forgot. So yeah, we want it in Iowa, but we're not everywhere. And when you have an opportunity to find an office that can really help you, a doctor that really knows what they're doing, that has a nearly 100% success rate, then you want to be able to go, and your supervisors tell you that you can't go to the doctor you want to. You have to go where they send you. And then what they do is they'll send you to like an urgent care or the ER or probably
someplace,
those,
yeah,
usually like that. And that's fine. Urgent cares. I go to walk-in clinics, and I work with doctors every day. I know all the doctors, and I still go to walk-in clinic. But what will happen is a lot of supervisors will send you there, but the rule states that you have the right to initial selection of physician, and that nobody can get in the way of your right of choosing your doctor. And you can't be forced to go to any doctor you don't want to go to. And if you're a VA employee, you cannot be forced to go to a doctor who's employed by or under contract with your agency. So you have the right to choose any doctor you want, and nobody can do anything about it. And then like it's a chiropractic office, right? Because a lot of Federal Injury Centers offices are owned by chiropractors, but they are operated with medical staff, okay? Like physical therapy, medical, it's multidisciplinary. Now, if you're not in the healthcare world and instead you're in a federal agency like the post office, and you don't have any healthcare experience except for you went to the doctor once, well, then you don't understand that that's the norm now. Standard of care now is multidisciplinary. It's multi-disciplines under the same roof, and that's how Federal Injury Centers is in every single office location.
But there's an MD.
There's always
a nurse
medical
practitioner
doctor
or
a PA. There's always a chiropractor. Not always, actually. Usually, and there's always or almost always physical therapists and licensed physical therapy assistants and licensed massage therapists. Like we run the whole gamut. And but your supervisors say, no, you can't go there. You have to go where I send you. And so they send you to a walk-in clinic or urgent care. And here's what happens to you. You get seen by an awesome nurse practitioner or PA.
Correct.
And they probably graduated top of their class. Okay. Best ever. So good. I wish I could hire them myself to work in our offices. Right. But they have a job. And they do a great job with you. They diagnose you properly. They give you great treatment, or at least a good prescription for some medication, I guess. And then they send you on your way with your CA-17. And, they wrote a narrative. It's probably a paragraph long, which is inadequate, but no medical doctor's signature, which means an automatic denial. So they're sending you to an automatic denial, and the rule states you can go anywhere you want to go. And what I want to tell management here is cut that out.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. Okay. If you want to make a suggestion because somebody gets claims accepted, somebody knows how to do the job right, there's a medical doctor on site that'll help, then make that suggestion, because that's a good suggestion.
Just because it says, Helms Chiropractic, that doesn't mean that it's not a federal injury centers or there's not an MD inside. It's okay. A lot of people call, and the messages I get is, I called your office in wherever, and it was a chiropractic office. It is, if you call the number on our website, it is the FIC office.
Yeah, and check this out. That letter I was telling you about earlier that was written by a supervisor to a claims examiner. In that letter, they also said, and it's a chiropractic office.
Right.
This is what I'm talking about. I just want to go, and? Because in that chiropractic office, let me show you what happened. They saw the medical doctor. They saw the nurse practitioner. They were evaluated by a physical therapist and treated by a physical therapist and a licensed physical therapy assistant. Did I say chiropractor in there? Not at all. Because it's owned by a chiropractor. It's not a chiropractic system, because OWCP by and large is not a chiropractic system. So
Right.
Don't let your supervisors tell you can't go to the chiropractor's office when the medical doctor and physical therapist work there too.
Yeah. Even if it bold big letters say chiropractic office on the outside,
Yeah.
it's still
Check them out.
FIC. Yeah.
Check them out.
Ask.
Maybe there's a medical doctor and a PT on the inside. That's what you want.
Yes.
As our mentor Sean said, you're in the right place.
Yes.
You're in the right place. So supervisors, you got to get out of the way. Your job is to fill out the forms and get out of the way.
Yeah.
So ask a few questions.
All right. Jody said, so what should a person do if they were injured and told the supervisor and they failed to file an injury report? Her injury was August 2021. She has been paying for this on her own. Well, first of all, she doesn't have to go to the supervisor. She has to fill it out online.
You're testing me right now, aren't you?
Yeah. And you fill it out online at ecomp.dol.gov. And he's coming up with something. I see his brain.
Let's read it again.
So what should a person do if they were injured and told the supervisor and they failed to file the injury report? Her injury was August 2021. She has been paying for this on her own.
All right. So file a grievance with your union. And that's the meanest thing I'm allowed to say tonight, because filing a grievance is a real thing. If you're in a union, you can do that. They're violating the laws when they don't allow you to report your injury. But when you go to ecomp, it's ecomp.dol.gov. You can file it yourself, and that's how you're supposed to do it. Even in 2021, I think that's when the new CA10 came out in October. So, and they were using ecomp prior to that. But now it's like the rule. It's not just an exception. So you go to ecomp and you fill out your own CA1 or 2, and then you go to the doctor and you just get a medical report from the doctor and get rolling on this thing. Now the supervisor is going to receive an email, and they have to fill out page 2 of the CA1 or CA2 and then submit that within 10 days of receiving it. And so when they don't do it within 10 days, they just broke the law. So you file a grievance on that too.
Oops. So
they didn't allow you to do it, and then they didn't turn it in time. Now, OSHA may have something to say about this too. If you call 1-800-321-OSHA, you can ask them, is it a violation of law for the supervisor to not allow me to report and file my injury? And let me tell you what OSHA says. They have 9 employee rights on their website. You can look them up. The 6th employee right is the right to report a work injury. Why do they put that one in there? There's only 9 rules. Like, I hate 9-point list. If it's 9, it better be 10. If it's 4, it should be 5. And if it's 6, I'm like, maybe I can just combine one of these together and make it 5. I'm really funny like that.
Yes.
But there's only 9 rules. And the 6th one says you can report a work injury. And then you go to another page, and on that page, it says it is a violation of law, or it's a crime to prevent you from exercising your rights under the law. So I wonder what OSHA would say about that. And then other people say, well, I don't want to make accusations. I don't want you to make accusations. But I think it's an interesting question. Is there a violation of law here? Is this a safety issue that I'm injured and they won't let me report my injury and get help?
Right.
So OSHA and filing grievances, those are the way to go. But don't forget to go to ecomp and file your forms on ecomp. You don't need permission from a supervisor to go to ecomp. And this is woodshed night. So management, get out of the way. Okay, just fill the forms out. And then here's the other thing management does. I know you have more questions, but when they start filling out the CA1, on the back, there's like 4 or 5 questions that could totally hose your case, like cause it to be denied. At least that's what managers think. Some of them, not all of them.
Right.
Now, just now in my head, 2 supervisors came to mind that I really like quite a bit. So, and you know who you are, so I'm not talking about you. But what they'll do is like, there's a question: did this happen in performance of duty? They'll say no because you hurt yourself in the parking lot. Well, that's not right. They're going to say no. Or was this due to willful misconduct? And they're going to say, yeah, willful misconduct. This person did it on purpose. Or does your knowledge of the facts of this injury agree with the statement of the employee or the witness? No, because this. Well, so supervisors just don't. Let me tell you what the claims examiners that I know say. They roll their eyes at you. Like, they're not buying it. They know that most of the time you just have bad intentions. And I get this on good authority from claims examiners. So just don't, man. Just tell the truth. Don't try to be a jerk about it.
Right.
And don't try to hurt somebody's case, because here's what's going to do. Here's what's going to happen. The injured person is going to go to the doctor. And if it's federal injury centers, for sure this is going to happen. We're going to address whatever you said on that form in our narrative report that goes to the claims examiner. So the claims examiner already sees what you wrote, and then they're going to get what the doctor says about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to cite the rules, and we're going to say why what you said is wrong. And it's going to be maybe embarrassing for you. And embarrassing is the nicest thing I can say right now.
All right.
I really don't want you, the supervisors, to be embarrassed by saying something stupid. And that's what's happening. And they're trying to hurt these cases. And I've got countless. I mean, when I say countless, that technically means I can't count. It's so many. Countless people that have shown up with a CA1 form with these crazy things written on them. And we just write in our narrative reports what actually happened, and the claim gets approved. So it was just a big waste of time that caused animosity. It's unnecessary.
I'm sorry. Our dog is snoring.
So Gizmo's about this big, and he's down there snoring like a freaking train.
And I'm just looking at Chris trying.
Can you maybe nudge him a little?
Yes.
Hey, maybe stop. This dog snores when he's awake.
Okay. Lonnie, how are you?
What's up,
Lonnie
Lonnie?
Duke. He said, do you have the right to change doctors if the first doctor refuses to respond to requests for information from OWCP?
Absolutely. You know, the worst thing is when the doctor won't cooperate with OWCP. That's just silly. And I think your claim examiner would be happy to let you change doctors, but you got to write a letter requesting a change of treating doctor. If your request is denied, you can ask your doctor to refer you to somebody else or to remove themselves from your claim.
Right.
And that request by rule shall be approved.
Maria Portal said, I asked for a doctor's signature. Then they had to re-ask. Finally, the doctor signed next to the practitioner's signature. Great. They finally did it for you.
Nice. But the thing is being persistent.
Yeah. Sandy, so OWCP told me I can't get a schedule award and my monthly pay is this so.
You cannot receive OWCP pay and schedule award pay at the same time. That is a fact.
Jody, are they going to tell her it's been too long? How does she get around that? She did not know about e-comp. Well, as long as it's been 3 years.
Less than 3 years.
Yeah.
As long as it's less than 3 years, you can still report an injury. It's fine. And when you told your supervisor, that was reporting. So you're good. By the way, I'm sorry. Let me just say, reporting does not mean you filled out the CA1 or 2. It means you notified management that you were injured. That's what's required.
Right.
I recommend doing that in writing by email or something, though.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Rick Steiner, what legal punishment penalties can management face for violating the law? Oh, great. This was coming up.
Rick, that's a good one. I was going to talk about this anyways next, so here it goes. Both the Code of Federal Regulations and the United States Code state, and I believe if you're a postal employee, you can find this in the ELM as well. But it says this, and this is a summary, a paraphrase. I don't have it memorized word for word. But they both say essentially it is a crime to prevent someone from reporting their injury. And that crime can be punishable by up to $5,000 in penalties and 5 or 10 years in prison. But let me ask you something. If it was 5 days in prison, would you want it?
I wouldn't.
If it was $500, would you want to pay that? Because if they start enforcing the fines and you do this all the time, like so many supervisors do, that's going to add up. And, the years behind bars will add up. Yeah, those penalties are real. I discussed those at length in my first book, Breaking OWCP, including the specific U.S. codes and the specific Code of Federal Regulations.
And I remember Chris and I were having lunch with a particular state president, and he told us that this happened. So we actually knew. I mean, well, we didn't know who they were, but we know of a supervisor that got fined and had to go to the Bye-bye land.
So again, we're doing Woodshed Night, the PG version. It's not my favorite thing to do because I prefer being the way they are to you. I like doing that to them. But I've been asked to tone it down. So we've talked about that you have 3 years to report and still be able to get help, that you can report immediately within 7 days, but immediately and get a CA-16 to pay all your bills for 60 days. And management's required to give it to you. They shall issue Form CA-16 within 4 hours of the claimed injury.
Yes.
That as long as you report within 30 days your CA1 claim, you can have continuation of pay, which is good for up to 45 days of time off. But unfortunately, too often management codes that incorrectly as annual leave, and that's not fair, or sick leave. That's not fair because it's a work injury. They try to prevent you from reporting your injury by not filling out the forms. That's not okay. They have 10 days to submit that to OWCP, or you should file a grievance and contact OSHA.
Yeah.
At 1-800-321-OSHA. And what else? What other questions we have?
Kelly Donald said,
Oh, and you can pick your own doctor. Sorry. You can choose your own doctor. They cannot send you to the urgent care. Go where you want to go. Now, if you love that urgent care, go ahead. But make sure the medical doctor signs off on everything. Now you can go.
Okay. Kelly Donald said, can a federal injury center see you and write a letter to add conditions without changing doctors?
I mean, yeah, it's called a diagnosis expansion. Of course, we can do that. If you had your doctor make a referral to us, we could absolutely do it.
Denise Bailey said, I'm filling out the CA7 for a schedule award. Any advice?
Fill it out perfectly. You cannot receive a schedule award payment at the same time you're receiving any other OWCP payments. So that's important, unless it's on another claim. So there is that exception to the rule. And but yeah, fill it out perfectly. You need a medical report from your doctor explaining that you're at MMI, and it's got to include a 6th edition impairment rating. If I go any deeper into this conversation, you're going to be super confused. But we do have a podcast called Breaking OWCP with Chris and Gini. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. And last week we had a podcast with attorney Eric Blowers where we spoke at length about schedule awards. I strongly recommend listening to it. And It wasn't that long. It won't take a long time to hear it.
Yeah, because Patricia Burrows said, how do you start a schedule award? So yeah, go to last week's podcast.
But you start it by being placed at maximum medical improvement by your doctor. It's a medical determination. It's not something you can do on your own because you're not a doctor. And then the doctor's got to do a 6th edition impairment rating, attach it to a CA7, and turn that into your claims examiner.
Yep. Emma said, thank you for Federal Injury Centers of Thousand Oaks. They helped some carriers from Bakersfield get their CA2 accepted. I share and talk about the knowledge I have learned from both of you.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love hearing about wins. I mean, all we do is win, but I love hearing about them.
Check one more, please. You keep going.
Okay, so I'm really interested in like what your supervisors are telling you. What things are you hearing? And what are your coworkers being told? Because those are things I can address here too. And I think that would be very, very helpful. And it's also really helpful for people that are here listening and seeing your comments. Because my experience is most people think they're the only person this ever happened to. They feel like they're on an island all by themselves. And it's like the worst thing. And nobody's ever heard of this happening before. But the truth is, we hear it all the time. And it's happening to so many of you. And, if you share your story, I think it's going to really comfort somebody else knowing that they're not it.
Yep. Sorry, I have to get to the pages.
So, hey, check this out. Coming up. After Orlando, we're going to Miami, but we're going to be in California next month too, right?
Yes, APW.
In San Francisco?
In San Francisco for their state convention.
Yeah, that's going to be great. I love going to California to do this because the folks there are so grateful. And they pack the room. Like it's going to shock me if there's not 200 people in the room.
Yeah, they always do a great
job.
That'll
be really, really surprising. And we make a huge impact when we're able to talk to that many people.
Yeah. Any questions?
What other questions do you have? So let me just recap. This has been hard for me because normally I just like light the world on fire and I can just go. Like I get into this rhythm and this flow and it's like really, really mean. And you can go back and watch past Woodshed Nights. You'll know what I'm talking about. I haven't said a single cuss word all night long. That's tough. I normally can't go this long without it, especially on Woodshed Night. But, supervisors, here's the key. Treat your people with love and respect. And if you'll do that, your folks are going to get back to work fast, or at least faster. And writing letters to the claims examiner, that's just silly. You're making yourself look silly, okay? Because the claims examiner is the one that approves the claim and approves the treatment and pays for the treatment.
Yep.
You think they don't already know what's going on? They're right in the middle of it. So, like, just stay in your lane, fill out the forms, help people get to the doctor they want to go to, help them get the treatment they need, and help them get back to work. And so, this is going to be my last topic: limited duty assignments, because getting back to work is the main goal. And unfortunately, everyone doesn't go right back to work full duty because injuries are real. And something happened at work that made you injured, and you've got to get past that. I was talking to one of the doctors today who said he had somebody with an abdominal muscle tear.
Yep.
Imagine you tear a muscle in your stomach. What does your stomach do? Everything. You can't move without your stomach muscles tightening up. There's nothing you can do. If I raise my arm up, my stomach muscle here tightens up. That's just how it goes. Everything you do requires your abdominal muscles. And this person was being given a hard time because they'd been out of work and on limited duty for a long time. And that's just not reasonable, okay? You're going to need limited duty. And so the laws allow for limited duty assignments, which allows your doctor to write restrictions so you don't get hurt worse when you go back to work. And this is important because the more you're able to work on restrictions, the faster you're going to be able to get back to work overall. And what supervisors are doing is against the rule. They're putting the limited duty offer in front of you and saying, sign here. And for the longest time, what we heard people say is, I'm being told that I'm going to sign this under protest.
Oh, yeah.
Well, why? Because you don't have to. Here's what the rule says. The supervisor sends the limited duty offer to the claims examiner. The claims examiner reviews it and then notifies you that there appears to be a valid job offer on the table. And so now you need to take it to your doctor. And guess what? You have 30 days to let your doctor review it. I don't think it should take 30 days, but the law gives you 30 days. And if your doctor says, not so fast, this doesn't work, then they'll give the doctor another 14 days to figure this thing out. So or 15, whatever it is, it's like 6 weeks. Okay. But management is saying, sign now. And you're being told, well, just sign under protest. Well, what does that mean? You don't need to sign under protest. I've read all the rules under limited duty offers. I mean, you can, okay? But I've read all the rules, all the laws, okay? I know everything about them. And I'm telling you right now, the law allows you to take 30 days to let your doctor look at it. So if your doctor could look at it and possibly say, no, why would you sign it now? So that's a big problem that management is causing. Because if they would just follow the rules, you'd actually get back to work way faster. But instead, what's happening is you're going to sign under protest. You're going to be angry about it. You're going to be scared and not know, like, am I going to go back to work and get hurt again? And that's not fair to you. And if management would just follow the rules, and that's what they're there for. It's like you're speeding down the road and the speed limit says 70. I'm going to go 90. I don't care. I know lots of you do that. Okay. I've been on the highway. But like when the cop pulls you over, the cop doesn't say, well, you didn't really want to follow that rule. No problem. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm drinking and driving. It was fun. I don't really want to follow that rule.
I'm going to read this question.
Go ahead.
Kelly Donald, my doctor will not write any letters, requests on my behalf to expand the conditions. So do I need a referral to FIC? Closest is 2 hours away.
Well, I'm not here to tell you to go to federal injury centers. In fact, that's not our motto, our thing at all. We don't tell you to go to our office. If you want to, you're welcome to. You can go to our website, federalinjurycenters.com, and look at the locations, and you know the closest one's 2 hours. You're welcome to do it. We will gladly help you, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you to do it. If you want to do it, you can, and we'll help you.
Judy Lynn, I waited a week before they allowed me to see a doctor.
I've dealt with this. You can go see the doctor today, any doctor you want.
Jody, I had an injury in 2008 and 2015 and never got a schedule award. Can I still get one?
Well, the good news is if you have a body part that is rateable in the impairment rating, you have until the end of your life to do it. So just stay alive.
Paul Wedge, LOL. My supervisor didn't even know how to do anything. I had to talk him through it all. Oh, gee.
Now, somebody the other day, and this has been said to me like handfuls of time, said, would you do a supervisor training? or I think it was like because some of the supervisors are in a management union.
Yeah.
And they were like, would you go and do training there? And I said, yes, but they're not going to like it. Because I'm not going to say anything different. The rules are the rules. I'm going to say what I say to you. I'm going to say it to them. Okay. So anyways, I don't know what to tell you about that. Hopefully they'll watch this.
Kelly Donald, can you explain what FICs will and can do? Do they do FERS medical retirement letters?
So it's a woman, right?
Yeah.
She.
So you have to say what we do.
Okay. Well, yes. So she's asking, do we do letters for federal disability retirement? Okay. That's what FERS is. And was it federal employee retirement system or something? But anyways, yeah, we can write those letters. We can definitely write them. We write narrative reports for a living. We know exactly how to write narrative reports. Unfortunately, when you're going to do federal disability, the vast majority of the time you need a lawyer because they're going to deny you. Like the best report is going to get denied. According to the best lawyers I know, it'll get denied 40% of the time for no good reason. So you're probably going to end up needing a lawyer. We know them. I don't like using lawyers. The lawyers that are friends of mine know that I say that. I don't like using them. They're the one thing that's not free. But can we write the report? Yeah, we can write it. And what do? We do initial medical evaluations to evaluate your injury claim, to write narrative reports, to send in to get your claim accepted. We do physical therapy treatment to help you get better and back to work. If referrals are needed for things like orthopedic surgery or specialists, yeah, we make referrals out to that and we co-manage the case with the specialist. And then we fill out the forms like the CA-17 to help you get back to work.
All right. I think this is the last question. Donna Hartman, if we are on Social Security disability, do we need to wait until age 67 to claim a schedule award? What if OWCP closes your case by then? Well, great question.
Yeah, that is a great question, but it doesn't matter. Remember, you have till death to file for a schedule award. Claims always get closed by that point. So don't worry about that. It'll get reopened. Don't sweat that. You just need your claim approved at some point. And you can't receive OWCP payments at the same time as schedule award. What else?
I'm reading this last one here. Oh.
Talk amongst yourself while we're reading. Okay, so this person, there was a limited duty. They're trying to get limited duty, and the agency said that they don't have any work for them. Well, when the claim's approved, if the agency won't let you work, then you're going to get paid LWOP to be home. I think that's not optimal. That's not ideal at all. The agency is short-sighted in this case. They need to find work for you because it's better for you to get back to work. It costs the agency more money to pay you to sit home than it does to pay you to do a limited duty job. That's just silly. The cost of having someone sit home, get paid, and do nothing is so much higher than the cost of you sitting in a chair at work and pushing papers and pencils. Right? Find something for you to do so you're doing something productive while the government's paying you. That's my position on it, and I think it's the right position.
Kelly said, my supervisor never honored the restrictions. Almost 2 years later, they're letting me go. Whoa.
Well, you need to speak with your union about that. There's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. But your unions are there for that purpose. They're there to protect you in the event that they want to let you go.
And there's Tina said, yes, you do. I'm 67 now.
Excellent.
What was that for?
The schedule award and the Social Security.
Oh, okay. So that's it for the questions tonight.
Well, everyone, look. So if you're new here, then why do they not help get limited duty? Okay, so we're here doing woodshed night, Jill, and we do that because supervisors don't do the right job. And we're highlighting the things that they're doing wrong and letting you know what's wrong so that you'll know what's right. And hopefully some supervisor will look at this and go, oh, I'm doing it all wrong. I'm hurting people. And that lady who didn't help her own sister, maybe she feels sorry and we'll fix that one day. I don't know.
I know. Yes, our Gilbert office does do shoulders.
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That office has a medical doctor, a nurse practitioner, a full therapy staff, massage staff. Yeah, they've got everything you need.
All right, guys. Well, we're glad you were on tonight. As a recap, we talked about management, the rules, laws, and regulations. Is everything okay? I was like, is somebody behind me?
Yeah, there's somebody behind you.
I see the palm tree. We talked about the rules, laws, and regulations. We tried to make it really, what happened?
Just
And yeah, and we hope we didn't hurt anybody's feelings, but
I'll try harder next time. I'm just trying to see like
I know.
how it went over this time. I'm curious like what your feedback is. Did you like Woodshed Night tonight?
Or did you like the other nights?
Did you like it better before when Chris Helms was a lot more fiery than he was tonight? But either way, I hope you learned a lot and that you're able to take this back to work and help your friends also, because again, so many of them are not here seeing this. And it's just no matter how hard we try, we've been doing this since 2016. And we still see so many people who've never heard of us. It's unbelievable. So tell your friends that we're here doing this on Wednesday nights. We want to be able to help as many people as possible. And then if you decide you want to go to federal injury centers, that's free. We never charge anybody out of pocket ever, no matter what.
And you can find all of the locations at www.federalinjurycenters.com.
And be like Carly DeVault and tell all your friends. Thank you, Carly. And by the way, Carly, we cannot wait to see you next month, especially you.
Aw. All right, guys. We will see you guys next Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure we're going to be on.
No, we're going to have Victor.
Wednesday. No, he's doing it in Miami. That's the following week.
The following week.
Because we are going to be in the Orlando area Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, meeting up with some APW, hopefully some of the mail handlers and some folks from VA with AFGE. But if anybody is a union or union steward in the Orlando area Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and would like to meet with us,
we'd love to meet you.
Please message me and I will give you the location. And if there's anybody that just wants to come say hello, come by. Well, you know what? We're going to bring some books. If you're in the Orlando area and you want to come see us, and you know you're going to come see us because I have to calculate how many books we're going to bring.
Let us know.
But yeah, I'll let you know where we're going to be. So
everyone have a great night. I hope you loved Woodshed Night. Follow us and on Breaking OWCP podcast with Chris and Gini. It comes out as often as we can record a podcast episode. You can hear it everywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.